Record of Ragnarok chapter 96, the 10th round of Ragnarok, the last battle between gods and humans. The one who won at the peak of the sword was humanity's strongest manslayer, Okita Tsuji. Heimdall announces this, and as he's announcing this, he's confused. He's like, what, huh? Wait a second, hey. As he's looking at Okita, he's like, shit, this guy doesn't look right. This is the worst anybody has been after winning a fight. He doesn't even have the power to muster up a stance, doesn't have the power to stand back to his feet. The crowd saying, what's wrong with him? He's not moving at all. Could it be? Maybe he's going to be completely erased and will be sent to Niflheim just like the rest of them. The ones that die. Wait, he is the winner. He'll really die like that? What's gonna happen? Like, what are we doing? This makes sense because obviously Onigo said he was going to die, and his Valkyrie alluded to this, Hilda alluded to this. Goal says, Okita-san, Sister Mold, no way. The Shinshin Gumi at this point rushed to the arena. They're screaming, Tsuji, hang in there, don't die on us. Kondo is legitimately worried. Okita is non-responsive, his eyes are shut, he's not breathing. And all the Shinshin Gumi are saying, it can't be, no way. They're distraught, they're saying, Okita-san, wake up. You just won against the god, dude, you know that? That was an awesome moment. Open your eyes. And Izanagi comes down, Susanoo's dad. We saw him last chapter stand up when Susanoo was defeated. No dialogue was there, but he stood up. We didn't know if he was going to be pissed, if he was going to want to try to fight, if he was going to do anything. He decided to push for peace. He says, please step aside, as he walks up behind them as they lift up Okita's body. He says, I never expect him to win, but what an amazing human he is. As he says this, one of the Shinshin Gumi members says, you piece of shit, what do you want? The battle's already over. Get out of here. Izanagi cuts him off and says, I can't allow you to die. This is for Susanoo's sake. And he puts his palm out. Now when he puts his palm out, he has this crazy scar on his hand. We don't get any information on why that's there, but it might be a plot point later. Izanagi then proceeds to heal Okita. He emits this aura around Okita and his sword, and he starts orating this poem. Ahead lies the water, it agitates. When I see my land, I see the heavens and earth. And as he says this, it starts reviving Okita. Now I'm sure there's going to be some different translations, but this is a Japanese poem that he recites. Shinshin Gumi are confused. They're saying, what are you doing, old man? The crowd is confused. They're like, what the hell is that? What's he doing? Because the crowd can see like this blinding light coming from the battlefield, but they don't know what's happening. Matarasu and Tsukiyomi stand up. They're like, Izanagi-sama. Izanagi says, come forth, Onogoro. Onogoro translates to self-condensing. And he basically like kickstarts Okita's body back to life. Now, the way that they frame this is that they say he brought him back to life. They say he's breathing again. This is weird though, because if he outright did die, you would think that he would have turned into the green crystals and started withering away to Niflheim like somebody mentioned earlier. I'm not sure why that didn't happen. Maybe it's just like a condition set that it's just whoever dies first turns into that. We're never privy to that, but I guess we haven't been in a situation like this. Or it's a situation where he wasn't fully dead, he was just like nearly dead and he was brought back to life. But it's interesting nonetheless. Not only was he brought back to life, but the Valkyrie was healed as well, at least to a point where they can live. We see Goal and Hilda are extremely happy that Sister Mold is alive. She's laying down next to Okita. And for now, at least, there's no need to worry about their lives. And Izanagi looks strained. And Izanagi smiles and says, now please allow him to be treated in the infirmary as he is profusely sweating. So this strained Izanagi, but it's still an incredible feat, especially if he did bring him back to life. Just a glimpse of the power of Izanagi. And I'd love to see more into his character and maybe potentially even a fight. But I think that this is a really good, wholesome moment because I talked about this in my spoiler video, it's the moment where the family of Susanoo understands what Susanoo wanted. In his life, all he wanted was to reach the peak of the sword, to fight against Okita, the human that he admired most, and he got to do that, and he wouldn't have wanted Okita to die after defeating him. He earned the right to live, and Izanagi fulfilled that wish, and I think that this is a really cool moment for him, his character, and for Susanoo. To be honest, the crowd can't believe he brought him back to life from the state he was in. Shinshin Gumi's elated, they're happy, and Izanagi smiles and walks away. Kondo tries to thank him and stop him. He says, please wait a moment. Why did you just save him? With a smile on his face, Izanagi says Susanoo put his own divine life at stake in this battle, and he was able to reach the peak of swordsman. He was guided by the unwavering figure of Okita Tsuji, the human he admired most. I offer you my gratitude on behalf of Susanoo, and he actually bows to a human. This is super significant because gods are usually very pretentious. We saw Susanoo and his backstory bow to a human, and Tsukiyomi and his family were like, what the hell are you doing? You're going to learn from a human. That's why he was banished, essentially. So now Izanagi, the head honcho of the Pantheon, does it out of respect for the fight that he brought to Susanoo. It's a full circle moment. It's really cool. So at this moment, we see that Okita's Valkyrie, she's back cognizant now. She's standing up, and Okita opens his eyes and says, Kando-san, guys, how was it? My fight, was it? Kando cuts him off and says, yep, that was a true samurai battle. Okita says, I see. It's so good to hear that. As we see the reaction from Zeus and some of the other gods to Izanagi bowing to the humans, and Zeus is pondering it. He doesn't look happy for sure, but he's pondering it, just taking it all in. Odin is seen reacting, but we don't see his face. And Izanagi says, as a god who continued to learn from humans until the very end, perhaps this fight was indeed his true purpose, and walks on away. We see both Tsukiyomi and Amaterasu are also approving of this. So Okita won over Susanoo's entire family, and they all gained a respect for humanity. Okita says to Kando, after saying, it's so good to hear that, so good to hear the praise about his fight, he finally was able to go all out. I cannot feel Onigo-san anymore. Onigo was the demon. Now this makes sense, and I like this. He can no longer hear his voice. Onigo is gone. Onigo died. Onigo, the spirit of the demon, has been killed, apparently. He says, Onigo-san, he left me alone. He vanished. We promised that we would die together. I don't think I can fight anymore. I'm so sorry. And he starts to cry. So that's pretty interesting. He had a legitimate bond with this demon. They promised they were going to die together. They promised that they were going to resolve themselves to fight together as one. And Onigo is now gone. His other half is gone. So Okita is going to be far weaker without Onigo if he was to ever fight. Obviously, he might still be able to use this Valkyrie, but without Onigo, he doesn't think he's even going to be able to fight anymore. Kando is now brought to tears as well. He says, I see. So finally, you managed to unleash all of Okita Tsuji's swordsmanship in this fight. Well done. You've done so well. You don't have to fight anymore. Now bawling, Okita says, yes, sir, as Kando hugs him into his arms, picks him up, and he walks away with the Shinshin Gumi. Beautiful ending for his character. Now it is interesting because, like, if Ragnarok has a post storyline, Okita's probably not going to be much help unless Onigo comes back in some way, or Okita finds out a way to fight without Onigo. That could be a little storyline brewing, but they kept him alive for a reason, so we'll see what they do with him. He was always one of the best spectators of the fights as well, so we'll see if that continues, but he's going to have to go get a lot of infirmary help, but he was already pretty much healed by Izanagi. And at this point, we see Ares and Hermes reacting. Ares is, of course, pissed off as always, and he's bringing up questions that I had myself. He says, I can't accept this. This is not making any sense, and you see a montage of Susanoo's invisible sword actually landing on Okita from last chapter. It's like Susanoo's last blow hit his target. The damage he took should have killed him. We were all saying this. How the hell did Okita survive this slash right here? Why is Okita alive? And he picks up Hermes by his jacket. Hermes says at that moment, it seems Okita made a slight movement, a slight retreat, just as he was about to be hit by Susanoo's Musoken. Probably thanks to that slight movement, he was able to slightly avoid the sword's killing blow. So ever so slightly, he avoided the hit enough to where it didn't hit his vitals, and he was able to unleash his own attack. Another hype moment for Hermes. Again, he perceived all this right in that instant. And in Apocalypse of the Gods, they talk about how you have to be a certain level of strength to be able to perceive things. So Hermes is going to be pretty strong. Ares says he dodged it. How could he do such a thing against an invisible sword? Hermes says no, he didn't dodge it. He saw the sword's path. So it wasn't like a situation where he was, reacting and dodging on instinct. He simply saw the path the sword was going to take and was able to evade it like that. So you get to see the strings. They remind me of Manager Kim, his CQC wires, but there's all these sword strikes where the path is there. It's almost like Demon Slayer as well, where that single thread is there to cut for the perfect cut. And Okita's countless years of experience and near-death moments were enough for him to have the experience to see these threads. So he knew the thread that Susanoo was trying to cut and moved just slightly enough to avoid it. That's how he avoided death. Zeus at that point says, and that's not even at all. What's really surprising is that technique. Despite the difference between a slash and a thrust, there's no doubt the last technique from Okita was unleashed the same as Susanoo's Ame no Mageshi. So yes, it's something initially I didn't catch when we were going over the chapter for the first time, but in my later videos I talked about it. Okita didn't actually physically thrust his sword into Susanoo. He was using the air pressure the same way Susanoo was using the air pressure. So he copied his own technique and he basically surpassed his own abilities in that moment. So it's super impressive. Zeus is giving high praise to it, and I like that they're specifically highlighting it. Ares can't believe it. He says, "What, you mean he used a divine technique? How can a human do something like that? This doesn't make any sense." And Hermes says it wasn't just Okita Tsuji as an individual. It was swordsmanship itself, created by the humans. That made that technique possible. Once again, I am reminded, says Zeus, that to grow amidst certain death and to evolve within despair, that is the very meaning of humanity. So it's great to see how much humanity has come to be respected. Okita furthering that narrative. We now cut to Goal, who's very happy. She's like, we did it, Sister Hilde. 2 more wins and we save humanity. But Hilda is gone. She vanished. So Goal's confused. She's like, where the hell is Sister? She starts running out. She starts looking for her. She's like, come on, she disappeared again. Now we're at 5 wins and 5 losses, a perfect even. We finally reached the final stages of Ragnarok. The situation is becoming completely unpredictable. I think that's Heimdall that said that. Goal was leaving the room. She's looking for Hilda. She's like, give me a break. She's always leaving me behind. That's not fair. I know that I might not be very helpful, but I am still one of the Valkyries, you know. That's foreshadowing that she is going to be very helpful for one of the fighters. Obviously, she's going to have to be a Vlund at some point. That's going to be a major plot point, and maybe she's going to be last. I could see Hilda going out there first. She continues and says, could she please just rely on me a little? Again, more foreshadowing. Humanity's going to be relying on her in the final fight is my prediction. She then comes across Hilda and she says, what the hell is Hilda doing? And Hilda looks weird. She's like standing in this doorway all menacingly. And Hilda's like, of course I'm counting on you, Goal. Goal's a little spooked by this. She's like, wow, Sister Hilda, what are you doing? You were listening to me? But why are you here? Hilda says, I want you to meet a guy who's really important to me. Someone important to you, Sister Hilda. And who is that, says Goal. Hilda then makes this weird noise that's like, boo, koo, ka. And Goal's like, what the hell is that? What are you doing? And she goes to touch Hilda, but it's a hologram. So there's not a physical body there, which is crazy because initially in the spoilers, we thought that this was Nostradamus using his ability to shapeshift into Hilda like he did earlier. But he actually didn't even shapeshift this time. He somehow just created a hologram of Hilda and was standing off to the side. And the boo koo koo sound was him laughing. That's his laugh. Now when she looks at him, he immediately sprays her with this like perfume bottle thing. And as he's laughing at her, he's like, you're so easy to trick. And this perfume bottle like knocks her out. He says, you shouldn't have fallen for a trick like that, dear Goal. She gets knocked out and he like collects her body and we cut away. We cut to Hilda, who's now looking at a screen of the remaining human fighters and the remaining god fighters. As we see, and as we've talked about, there's 3 gods remaining and 4 humans remaining, meaning that if all the humans were to fight, we need a 14th god, we need an extra god fighter. That's assuming we go the full distance though. Here we actually get the first tease of Rasputin. We do not get a clear shot of him, but there's a small silhouette there where he's making his iconic pose. We can't see his face or anything, but a lot of people are already very hyped about this. Of course, we see Simo, Nostradamus, and Kentoki as well, and the god fighters remaining are Loki, Odin, and Anubis. Finally, we've made it this far. Just 1 more win. If we can just get to 6, I will corner Odin, and he will no longer be a mere spectator. He will descend as a fighter. There's no doubt. This is interesting. So she's not even concerned about getting 2 more wins to win the tournament outright. She wants 1 more win because she believes that Odin will have to fight then. More into the connection, like did Odin prompt Ragnarok? Did he put it in Hilda's ear to enact Ragnarok for his own mission? I've made many theories about this. You can check on the channel, but things are getting heated right now, especially like I said, we have a lot of secrets to be revealed in the coming 2 chapters. She slams the table. She has a serious look on her face and says, it's almost time. Soon, I'll be able to see you again, dear Siegfried. So her boyfriend, obviously. We now cut to Tartarus, where Siegfried's being held, obviously. And remember, Kentoki had come here, but he was turned away by the guards. He was basically saying that there was no point. The guards, you know, they look strong. There's no way he was going to break in. We see that they're actually huge because Nostradamus is standing by them and they're giants. So the guards are no slouches, it doesn't look like. But we see this person walking with a hood and it's Nostradamus and he has this crate behind him. It's like a wagon and he's walking in. Now we actually get this shot of Tartarus inside that we've never seen before with all these cubes. And this is crazy. I don't know if these are all cells and you have to point in which specific cell you want to go to. But it looks like he puts in the codes and he has this rune in his hand and it looks like a Norse rune. Now, it actually looks like Odin's symbol. So I've seen people talking about that. So that'd be interesting. How the hell did he get his hands on this rune? This guy's a monster. Like, is he Odin's opponent? Like, he's a beast. Like, Kentoki couldn't even get in here. Nostradamus just strolled in, walked in. He's whistling away like it wasn't a big deal. He gets to this door. There's more guards. These ones are shorter, regular size, I'd say, but still Dorfin Nostradamus, and they say to him, "Hey there, you've been working hard, haven't you?" He says, "Yup," keeps walking. They say, "Please be careful." He says, "Yup," keeps walking. So I don't know what the deal is here. I don't know if he is camouflaging himself somehow or just giving them a hallucination, but they buy it. He walks right in the front door like nothing happened. And the cubes aren't actually cells. They're elevators, apparently. So like you just step on the cube and it takes you down to wherever you want to go. So he walks through the hallway, and as he walks through the hallway, we see these posters on the wall. It's Beelzebub, Kentucky, and Buddha. So Odin's already got the bounties up for them. He's like, watch out for these faces. Do not let them in under any circumstances into Tartarus. Nostradamus keeps pulling this crate. He gets to this big gate, and behind the gate is, of course, Siegfried. This is Siegfried's cell. He says, "Phew, good grief. My bad. Am I late? The security here is strict as hell. It's such a hassle every time, I swear. It didn't look like a hassle." Takes his hood off, uses the rune again, and the rune like lets him phase through the fucking bars. This is crazy. That rune is powerful as fuck. Especially now, it seems like someone was sniffing around here in Tartarus, Kentucky obviously. It would be troublesome if they lumped me in with those guys. Well, I'm here to treat you. As you wished, I brought her. Siegfried then says, "It must have been tough. So you were able to bring her here safely?" Nostradamus is like, "Absolutely." He unlocks the carton, and lo and behold, gold is in the damn box. Nostradamus says, "Allow me to introduce you to a friend of mine. He is also Brun's boyfriend, the Dragon Slayer hero, Siegfried." Cole looks up, she's like, "What's this?" She sees Siegfried on the damn cross, like being crucified essentially. And Siegfried says, "Hey there, it's a pleasure to meet you, Goal." And that's the cliffhanger with Goal wide-eyed, almost looking like Gear 5 affecting her with her eyes popping out of her head. She's like, "Lord Siegfried," and that's the chapter. So next chapter is going to be the big chapter. We're obviously going to get this plot forwarded. I'm sure we're going to get more reactions from like Odin. We're probably going to find out who the fighters are next chapter, or at least get some teases to it. Can't wait for that. This one was a lot about Okita, his story concluding that moment. Beautiful moment with the Izanagi, beautiful moment with the Shinshin Gumi. So great chapter overall. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, Apocalypse of the Gods, that chapter will be covered on the channel as well. And we'll have a preview and prediction for chapter 97 all on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed, drop a like, and I'll see you guys then. Peace.